Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor. In this episode, we're talking about fantasy football running backs to avoid. Yes, potential busts at the running back position. Very important episode. Let's get to it. Welcome to the show, guys. We are talking about fantasy football running backs that you have to consider avoiding because they could be potential busts going into 2020 fantasy football. Now, this is pre-NFL free agency. This is pre-NFL draft. The situation could actually get worse for these guys or potentially get better. I may or may not change my opinion on the following running backs, but I'm still not 100% trusting these guys going into 2020 fantasy football. I'm going to get into who they are and why they could be potential busts for 2020. Now, don't get me wrong, these guys could be top 10 finishers yet again, but I'm just giving you guys the warning signs. That's all it is. It's preventive maintenance on guys that could potentially bust. Before I get into that, guys, it genuinely means a lot to me. My mission is to help you guys actually win. I actually give a crap whether you win or lose your leagues. My mission is that you actually win, okay? That's the bottom line. I'm not going to give you guys last year's top finishers and tell you to draft them again. This is no mainstream fantasy football consensus rankings. This is the real deal here, this channel. So guys, I ask you as a favor to me, I'm going to, do everything I can based on research effort and everything I can to make sure you guys win your leagues. All I ask is you guys do click subscribe and give a thumbs up. And also in return to that, I try to get back to as many questions as I can here in the comments. And we're going to be shouting out a bunch of you guys, specifically shouting you guys out and your questions. If we like the question enough on the show, we're going to be doing a Q&A session on most of our podcasts with me and Tim the Bald Guy. So leave your questions below. They may get answered in the show and a shout out will be given. So let's get to it, guys. Potential busts, okay? First one we want to talk about here is Dalvin Cook, okay? Listen, Dalvin Cook, there's an episode I just did, okay? A video I did on Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb on why I'm staying away from him. So go back and watch that. It dives more deeper into why I'm staying away from Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb, but I'm gonna give you guys the points here as well, okay? There's a link here below on YouTube. I'm gonna leave that link for you as well for this specific video. Listen, bottom line with Dalvin Cook, it's really, really simple, guys. It's not brain surgery. The guy hasn't finished a season. Yes, he had a good season last year, but the bottom line is he hasn't finished a season, period. Zilch, nada. The first 2 seasons he played in the NFL, he had 15 games in 2 seasons. Unacceptable. 4 games year one, and then 11 games year 2, okay? Unacceptable. I know you guys are saying, hey, Joe, you know what? The guy gets injured. Give him a break. He had a great season last year. Yeah, he did. But again, I just think that he'd had that great season. He played the best he could because he knew he had to get paid. So it's a contract year for him. And now he's threatening holding out. So if he doesn't get the money that he thinks he deserves, which I don't think he deserves anyway, because he is an injury-prone guy, then he's going to probably hold out, which is going to give you more implications. Again, he had a good season, but the mainstream aren't talking about all these variables. Again, the possible holdout. Again, the injuries the past 3 seasons. Again, not finishing the season last year in your fantasy football playoffs. This guy has not seen the fantasy football playoffs for anybody's league, so I don't trust him there. And of course, Alexander Mattison, he is a solid insurance plan that could be a starter there for the Vikings. That's why they grabbed him. Him and Boone have performed relatively well considering, Dalvin Cook's the starter. Like if they get the start, they could perform on the same level, probably even better than Dalvin Cook has. Mind you, Mattison had 100 attempts. That took a lot from Dalvin Cook, right? So I'm only assuming preservation of Dalvin Cook and more integration of Alexander Mattison and another injury Dalvin Cook, which is pretty much certain next year. Those are a lot of variables why I'm staying away from Dalvin Cook. But again, go watch the video link below on why I'm staying away from Chubb and Cook. Next guy, let's talk about him, Nick Chubb. Again, not going to elaborate too much other than the fact that if Kareem Hunt is there, I'm staying away from Nick Chubb, period. That's the bottom line. And he only had, this is a fact here, guys, look it up. I actually challenge you guys to look it up. That's what we Council Nation do. We challenge each other. We want to push each other and get out of that comfort zone and do better than the mainstream. We're not just herds. We're not just sheep here. Go back and look. Okay, guys, week 10 to 17. He only had 2 games. Go check his PPR numbers out. Nick Chubb only had 2 good games in week 10 to 17. Okay, that's something to consider. Kareem Hunt outperforming him in a lot of those games in PPR and may have been by a point or 2, but still a factor. Okay, so be careful there when you are looking at Nick Chubb, he's going to be considered top 10 talent, but not a guy that I trust going into 2020 fantasy football if Kareem Hunt is there. So I want to make sure you guys understand that, okay? Next guy here, now this is going to get a lot of like eyebrow raises and eye rolls and stuff like that. Hey, that's fine. But a guy I'm staying away from, and I think there's a lot of overhype around this guy, is Austin Ekeler. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Joe, you're crazy here. Austin Ekeler got paid $24.5 million over 4 years with $15 million guaranteed. How dare you, Joe? How could you tell me to stay away from Austin Ekeler while everybody in the mainstream is saying he's going to be a PPR machine? Well, yes, he could be a PPR machine. Very well so. But a lot of people are going to draft this guy as an RB1. When I'm looking as an RB1, I'm looking for a full and true and full-out workhorse. That's what I'm looking for. A guy that's going to get, you know, a lot of attempts. 300 attempts I'm looking for. 250 to 350 in regards in and around the range of attempts. Austin Ekeler had 132 attempts last year. And I know I hear the voices again. Well, Joe, you know what? What I'm saying is, Joe, he's going to get a lot of receptions. Yes, he's pretty good at receptions. I'm not going to take that away. Yes, 557 yards last year, okay? Rushing, that's unacceptable, but where he made that up in receptions. I get it, okay? I'm looking at it right now. His receptions are phenomenal. 108 passing attempts, 92 receptions, 993 receiving yards. Joe, you're nuts. Okay, understand, guys, he's going to be a complimentary back. If Melvin Gordon comes back or stays there, then yes, it's going to affect him. I'm definitely staying away. But they may bring in another rookie running back, whether it be anybody, any of these guys. I do a whole, whether it be Swift, I don't know if they're going to get Swift, whether they get Akers. I don't know who they're going to get at running back, but I think they're going to draft a rookie because they want to get the value out of a solid workhorse running back and keep Ekeler as that guy that they kind of trust. So is he going to be that full workhorse running back? I'm not completely sold, so I'm going to stay away from Austin Ekeler. Be cautious there. The other guy here, okay, Kenyan Drake. Now, this is a total boomer bust situation when you are looking at Kenyan Drake. Be cautious here as well. I want to make a point here that in Week 10, he only had 10 points, 10.1 PPR, okay? He had terrible weeks. Week 13 and 14 were an absolute disaster. Week 11 was a disaster for him. I mean, Week 13, 7 points. Week 14, 9 points. He had a couple good games. I get it. Yes, he did. And if he gets integrated fully with the Cardinals, there is some upside there. But not a guy I trust. Trust me, guys, there is a ton of ceiling if the perfect storm is there for Drake. They make some improvements on the O-line. David Johnson goes away. He is named the starter. They don't draft or acquire another running back. If the perfect storm is there, Kenyan Drake could be a top 10 finisher. There's no doubt. But what I'm talking about is a guy that he's a potential bust. Okay, this is what this show is about. It's guys to avoid because they can be potential busts. Be cautious. Warning signs, red flags. Be aware. Okay, sometimes you drink the Kool-Aid, and what happens is, like, for example, Damian Williams last year. Everyone's sold on Damian Williams. I'm like, guys, stay away from Damian Williams. Be careful. He's had years to wow us. We weren't wowed. Be careful. Same situation with Drake. A guy that had years to wow us. We're not wowed. Had this flash of mediocrity, slightly above par, based on what he had performed before, and everybody's riding the Drake train. Trust me, I'm all sold on the upside, but be cautious with Drake. Next guy, I've got two more guys here that are going to really raise some eyebrows, but Aaron Jones, be cautious here. It was a year where the Packers ran the ball a lot. This is not really typical of the Green Bay Packers. I understand new coaching was there. Devontae Adams was hurt. There were a lot of variables that helped make it more of a run game. Now, he did pretty amazing, Aaron Jones, okay? But back in 2018, if you look at his numbers, 24th in PPR compared to where he finished last year. He had 16 touchdowns in 2019, guys. I don't see Aaron Jones having 16 touchdowns on the ground again and rushing over 1,084 yards yet again. Back in 2018, he maxed out at 17 attempts a game. So I'm not sold on him again being that guy. And again, past couple years prior to this one, he hadn't finished the season. 12 games is 2 years prior. So durability may play a factor again. So I think Devontae Adams, if healthy, gets integrated a lot more, going to steal some of those touchdowns instead of just Aaron Jones running them in. And also, I just think they're just going to utilize receivers. The more I'm assuming they're going to draft one of these ace receivers coming in to complement Adams, give Aaron Rodgers some more targets. So again, Aaron Jones, great talent, don't get me wrong, but again, injuries, and I think a pinnacle year last year, he's going to be due for a potential decline. All right, the next guy here that's going to potentially bust. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a full-out bust in regards to like don't draft him completely. But Christian McCaffrey is a guy that I'm going to be a little bit cautious about drafting first overall. Now, he is as close to bulletproof as possible when it comes to running backs, but I am a little bit afraid of Christian McCaffrey going into this season. I'll tell you why. He had Allen throwing him the ball last year, and he threw it to him a hell of a lot of times. Now, 116 receptions. Their top receiver, DJ Moore, only had 87 receptions. Now, a receiver should be getting more receptions typically than a running back. Not the case with Carolina. But Carolina's got to realize that if they just throw the ball to Christian McCaffrey, they're not going to win any Super Bowls or make it to the playoffs. They need to utilize their receivers. They need to have other targets. My assumption is that they bring in an ace wide receiver and throw them the ball. They're going to throw more to wide receivers, period. They have to. Not to mention, we don't know the quarterback situation. We don't know what's going on with Dune. We don't know what's going on with Allen. We don't know what's going on right now. And again, this is free agency right now. I don't know what the heck's going on. But I'm assuming, and I always try to think 12 steps ahead, is that they don't have any wide receivers. Again, I'm not sold on DJ Moore being that ace wide receiver. They're going to get more wide receivers. They're going to figure out the quarterback situation, and they're going to throw the ball more. And hopefully Christian McCaffrey, if you are drafting him, still gets the same volume, but I think there's going to be a decline. I mean, such a pinnacle year, very hard to replicate. This is why I've got Saquon Barkley ahead of Christian McCaffrey going into 2020 fantasy football. Be careful with Christian McCaffrey. There is going to be a regression. I don't know. And again, Tim the Ball guy, we were talking about this. He goes like, okay, Joe, so he drops down 50 points. I'm still going to get 390 points out of this guy if he drops 50 to 70 points. Yes, but still, a lot of people are going to be drafting him thinking that he's going to replicate last year's numbers with a slight decline. I think it's going to be a bigger decline than people think going into 2020 fantasy football, so be aware. All right, guys. That is it, guys. Running backs to potentially avoid potential fantasy football busts 2020. Be cautious, be aware, stay safe, and of course, guys, always think outside the box. Now, I am doing the 16-round draft solution. Pre-orders right now. Head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. There is a link below. This is the game changer when it comes to fantasy football analysis. No more draft kits. The video training is really going to help you guys. I give you optimal players to draft in each round. It is phenomenal. Make sure you guys click subscribe, leave a thumbs up, get the 16-round draft solution, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for being here.